now turn up.
What up is Marcus with Dynasty Football Dads. We are getting closer and closer to 1K. And when we do, upside down, we're going to be giving away a Jerry Jeudy free signed jersey. All you have to do is be a subscriber. We already have one person of the 5 that are going to be on the wheel that I'm just going to spin. And one of you guys is going to win this jersey. So, if you're new to the channel, we are going to be going through Rashod Bateman. Now, I'm a Minnesota fan. I was born and raised in Minnesota. And, of course, Rashod Bateman, a wide receiver out of the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Probably a receiver that I've seen the most tape of anybody. Just because I've watched it live, and then I watched it again, and then again. And, ultimately, Rashod Bateman versus Tyler Johnson. Tyler Johnson, who, of course, slipped down into and was drafted by Tampa Bay. Rashod Bateman is a first-round draft capital wide receiver, and he was drafted by Baltimore for that. And if we look at through some of the analytics, there was a big, huge kind of like not sell-off, but oh my goodness, he was 6'2", 215 pounds, and then he came out as 6 feet tall, 190 pounds. He said that he did have COVID prior to the 2020 season. His tape in 2020 did not look like it did in 2019. 2019 was a better year. So we have to figure out which Rashod Bateman are you getting. I think you're going to get more of the 2019 Rashod Bateman, a wide receiver on a team that was doing decent as in the Minnesota Golden Gophers. But if you look at some of his analytics, there's an argument for and against, but I mean, there are some really strong things that say that Rashod Bateman is going to be an excellent wide receiver at the next level. So let's start with some of the big ones, and it's the college dominator, the college yards per reception, the target share, breakout age. I mean, these are all, 3 of them are above the 80-90 percentile. So we are talking about elite things that we want. So breakout age, 18.8. That's awesome. We're talking 93rd percentile. We've got college target share, 35.7%. Minnesota did not pass it that much. You could say that their offense was very similar to the Baltimore style. And he was 98th percentile in that. 16.7 yards per catch, and a dominator of 40% in the Big Ten. 40% in the Big Ten. If he's Ohio State wide receiver, you're talking about a guy who is arguably wide receiver 1. The only reason I'm not is he's Minnesota Golden Gopher. That's part of the issue. 2, he's 6 feet tall, 190, not 6'2", 215. So he's magically wasting away as well. And another aspect is he did show a not so great 2020 year. He was my wide receiver 1. Going into him and Chase were battling, and then Devontae Smith kind of came in and was basically a trifecta of 3 people. And as of late, he was my wide receiver 3. Him and Jalen Waddle were battling kind of for that wide receiver 3 spot. Jalen Waddle has a better situation. So the things against him, of course, is Baltimore. You're going to have Lamar Jackson. You're going to have 180 to 200 yards passing, but there is some statistics to show that Lamar does have some actually accuracy in certain routes that Rashod Bateman's well at, which is some of the slant routes, some of the deep kind of fade routes. Those are things that Rashod Bateman and Lamar Jackson do well together. We also, they did some kind of analytics of like what things to the next level kind of promote, what things are kind of prefaces or what kind of things are going to show, hey, at the next level. And some of it was college production, and that's a big one. Breakout age, team market share, draft capital is a huge one, and it's like, yes. We talked about early declare versus non-early declare. He's an early declare. His only big really thing is his hand sizes are medium. They're regular hand size, nothing crazy. But if you look at it analytically, from an analytical standpoint versus any of the other wide receivers, you look at even breakout age and target share and even career production, he is one of the only wide receivers that is pretty much elite across the board besides Jamar Chase. The only other one that is close besides breakout age is Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith just broke out later. You can argue that's because of some of the Alabama wide receivers. But we look at Rashod Bateman, what he could be, what he projects to be. He projects to be a wide receiver 1 at the next level. How many other wide receiver 1s are you going to have in this draft class? Probably Jamar Chase and probably Devontae Smith, maybe Jalen Waddle. Jalen Waddle is in a better situation, but maybe Jalen Waddle. And Rashod Bateman's the only other alpha. we look at Elijah Moore, we look at Rondell Moore, we look at Terrace Marshall, we look at some of these wide receivers, but they are really good complementary wide receivers. And there's a reason why Rashod Bateman is wide receiver 4 on my list. And if somebody wants him wide receiver 3, I can totally see it. But I've been seeing him drafted as wide receiver 6 and 7 in rookie drafts. He's at the end of the first, beginning of the second. People are fading on him because of Marquis Brown. And Marquis Brown has done nothing. I wanted to even see what is it in his PPR. Let me look quick it up. I think I believe Marquis Brown contested. It showed. Where is it? I had it. I don't have it anymore. But Marquis Brown has not produced the way you want to. He's not an alpha. He's not going to be. I understand his high draft capital, but Marquis Brown is not an alpha in that offense and will not be competing too much for those basically those receptions. You could see, and people argue about the offense Baltimore has, but Tennessee has a similar offense, and you see A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown's a monster, though. But if Rashod Bateman can do 80% of what A.J. Brown does, you're talking about a guy who's being way underdrafted and way undervalued. I believe that Rashod Bateman is a very, very good wide receiver and very good at contested catches as well. I mean, if you watched him in the Big Ten, he actually has really good speed. He was under 4.4 when we were talking about speed, which we thought he was going to be slower. We thought he was going to be like 4.44, 4.45, somewhere in that range, but he was under the 4.4s. He was 4.37, 4.39, depending on the source. So we're talking about a guy, again, who could be an alpha, and there's not many of those in this. I mean, there's only basically 3.5, maybe 4 in this entire draft, and that's why Rashod Bateman's going ahead of Elijah Moore. I love Elijah Moore. I love his tape, and even a couple of weeks back, I said, who are the two biggest undervalued receivers right now? It's Elijah Moore, and it's being Rashod Bateman, and Rashod Bateman is probably being the most undervalued of all of them because he is slowly slipping down these drafts because everyone else is starting to go, it's Baltimore. And I agree. Yeah, Baltimore is a struggling passing offense, but they're going to have to pass it to somebody. And it's 180 yards, but what happens if half of those go to Rashod Bateman, which easily could? I mean, that's 50%. That's a lot. I'm just saying a good chunk of them could, because Marquis Brown could just be this big boomer bust play, random games, and you're going to have Mark Andrews, he's kind of a consistent guy who's just a big touchdown play. And Rashod Bateman's going to be the guy that does well with this RPO. He's an excellent person for that Baltimore offense. I mean, the reason why I said, please, Baltimore, don't draft Rashod Bateman is because I felt like he was a perfect fit for that Baltimore offense, and I didn't want him to be stuck there because I felt like he was going to fall down the boards. And Baltimore, if you watch the Gophers offense, which not many people did, they ran the ball, then they did RPOs, they did slants, and that was kind of their offense. It was really boring offense, but what does Baltimore do? Run, quarterback run, throw slant, throw deep ball. Like that's what they do. They do very simplistic offense that's kind of boring. I mean, boring per se, it's not expansive. And so for Rashod Bateman, I could see him easily having some really good success in that offense. And I can see him bordering 1,000 yards, maybe 5 touchdowns as a rookie wide receiver. 1,000 yards, 5 touchdowns. If he produces that, you're talking about a wide receiver you're not going to be able to get next year. I mean, that's just the way it is. It's just not going to happen. Remember, there's 17 games, so there's an extra game. So that's what I feel about Rashod Bateman. Yeah. He's like a shorter Kenny Golladay is my biggest example. I mean, he was only a 2-inch shorter Kenny Golladay, and I was like a 4-inch shorter Kenny Golladay. That is my comparison to Rashod Bateman. Still think he's being undervalued. All right? This is Marcus Dynasty Football Dads. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace out.
Now turn up.